morning sun burned through the Iraqi dust as Gunnery Sergeant Mike Chun adjusted his spotting scope, watching the British sniper team settle into position nearly 800 meters away. This wasn't combat knot anymore. This was something far more personal, born from weeks of friendly rivalry that had escalated during late-night conversations in the forward operating base outside Basra. You really think they'll show? Corporal Jake Morrison asked, chambering a round into his M40A5 rifle with practiced efficiency. They'll show, Chen replied, his voice carrying the certainty of a man who'd spent 15 years in the Marine Corps scout sniper community. British pride won't let them back down. The challenge had started innocuously enough. 3 weeks prior, during a joint operation coordinating fire support between U.S. and British forces. The conversation had drifted to marksmanship. Sergeant Danny Walsh of the British Royal Marines had casually mentioned that British sniper training was perhaps a touch more rigorous than the American counterpart. The comment had landed like a grenade in the American camp. What followed was an escalating series of good-natured jabs about confirmed kills, longest shots, and historical achievements. Finally, Walsh had proposed something unprecedented, an informal competition. Nothing official, nothing that would appear in after-action reports, but a test between two of the most elite military units in the world. The rules were simple. 5 shooters per side. Multiple shooting positions from 300 to 1,000 meters. Various target sizes. Wind conditions ranging from calm to the swirling unpredictability of desert thermals. The losing team would buy drinks for a month assuming they survived the humiliation. Now. As the British team arrived in their Land Rover, Chen felt his competitive edge sharpen. He recognized Walsh immediately lying, weathered, with the economical movements of a man who'd spent years learning that wasted motion could mean death. Behind him came 4 more Royal Marines, each carrying the distinctive L115A3 long-range rifle that had claimed some of the longest confirmed kills in military history. Gentlemen, Walsh said, extending his hand with a slight smile that might have been confidence or might have been something else entirely. Ready to learn a thing or two? Chen shook his hand firmly. We'll see who's teaching whom. The range had been hastily prepared in a rocky depression to clicks from the main base. Steel targets at varying distances. Wind flags every 100 meters. A makeshift scoring station where Lieutenant Sarah Kowalski would serve as the neutral observer, keeping meticulous records of every shot. The first phase began at 300 meters, relatively short for trained snipers, but designed to test fundamentals under pressure. The Marines went first. Morrison, Chen, and 3 others, Rodriguez, Williams, Case, took their positions on the firing line. Morrison's first shot rang out. The distinctive crack of the M40A5 echoed across the desert. The target pinged instantly. Center mass, Kowalski called out. One by one, the Marines fired. 5 shots. 5 hits. Textbook accuracy that reflected countless hours on the range at Quantico and in the field. Then, the British took their turn. Walsh settled behind his rifle with an almost meditative calm. His breathing slowed. His finger found the trigger. The L115A3 barked, and the target sang. Center mass. Kowalski confirmed. The British matched him shot for shot. After the first round, the score stood even at 5-5. Not bad for Marines. Walsh commented, his accent thick with understated humor. Almost professional, just warming up. Chen fired back. The competition intensified at 500 meters. Here, wind became a factor. The desert breeze, seemingly gentle, could push a bullet several inches off target. Both teams had to read the flags, feel the air currents, calculate adjustments on the fly. The Marines fired first again. Morrison nailed his shot. Rodriguez did too. But Williams hesitated a fraction too long, second-guessing his wind call. His bullet caught the edge of the target, still a hit, but not center mass. Edge hit, Kowalski announced. The British team watched, analyzing. When their turn came, they adjusted. Walsh's shot was perfect. So were the next three. But on the fifth shot, their youngest member, a corporal named Bennett, who couldn't have been more than 23, pulled slightly. His round went wide, Miss Kowalski said. The teams were still even, but the atmosphere had shifted. This wasn't just friendly competition anymore. Pride was on the line. National honor. The reputation of their respective training pipelines. Asterisk at 700 meters. The real test began. At this distance, variables multiplied exponentially. Bullet drop. Spin drift. The Coriolis effect. Temperature variations. Each shooter had to become part mathematician, part meteorologist, part miscreating conditions that weren't entirely quantifiable. Asterisk, Chen took the first shot for the Marines. He'd been in this position before, in places far more hostile than a training range. He remembered a rooftop in Fallujah, an insurgent commander in his scope, the weight of lives depending on his accuracy. This was different, but the fundamentals remained the same. Asterisk, he exhaled slowly, squeezed the trigger at the natural pause between heartbeats, and watched through his scope as the bullet flew true. Asterisk, dead center, Kowalski called. Asterisk, the Marines went 4-4-5 at 700 meters. Haze, usually rock solid, misread the wind and missed low. Asterisk, the British team huddled briefly before shooting. Walsh was talking, gesturing at the wind flags, sharing observations. It was a moment of teamwork that reminded everyone watching that sniping wasn't just individual skill, it was collective knowledge, shared experience, mutual trust. Asterisk, when they fired, something remarkable happened. All 5 British shooters hit center mass. 5 perfect shots. Asterisk, Chen felt his jaw tighten. The British had just demonstrated something exceptional, not just individual talent, the level of team coordination that was genuinely impressive. Asterisk, bloody hell, Morrison muttered. They're good, K. Asterisk, we're better, Chen replied, though he wasn't entirely sure anymore. Asterisk, the final phase 1,000 meters would decide everything. At this distance, both teams were pushing the effective range of their rifles. It wasn't impossible, but it required everything a sniper had learned, everything they'd experienced, and a healthy dose of luck. Asterisk, the wind had picked up. The flags were dancing irregularly. Dust devils swirled in the middle distance. Conditions were deteriorating rapidly, perhaps too rapidly to continue safely. Asterisk, we could call it. Walsh suggested, his competitive fire apparently tempered by professionalism. Weather's turning. Asterisk, Chen looked at the sky, then at his team. He saw the determination in their faces. They hadn't come this far to quit. Asterisk, 1 shot each, Chen proposed. Best shot wins. Asterisk, Walsh considered this, then nodded. Fair enough. Asterisk, the teams conferred. Who would take this single, most important shot? For the Marines, the choice was obvious: Chen himself. With his years of experience and dozens of confirmed long-range engagements. For the British, Walsh stepped forward without discussion. Asterisk, Chen went first. He settled into position, feeling the ground beneath him. The rifle stocked against his shoulder, the familiar weight of responsibility. He studied the wind flags, made his calculations, adjusted his scope. Asterisk, the target at 1,000 meters looked impossibly small. Asterisk, he breathed, relaxed, found that space between heartbeats where everything became still. Asterisk, the trigger broke clean. The rifle recoiled. Through his scope, Chen tracked the bullet's path. Watching for impact, the target pinged. Hit, 4 inches right of center, Kowalski announced. Asterisk, it was good. Very good, but not perfect. Asterisk, Walsh took his position. The British team stood behind him silently, their faith evident. Walsh went through his routine with the same methodical calm he'd shown all day. Asterisk, the L115A3 fired. For a long moment, nobody breathed. Asterisk, dead center. Kowalski said quietly. Asterisk, the British team erupted in restrained celebration handshakes, backslaps. It's a kind of professional acknowledgement that honored the difficulty of what Walsh had just accomplished. Asterisk, Chen stood, walked over and extended his hand to Walsh. Hell of a shot. Asterisk, Walsh gripped his hand firmly. You nearly had us. Your team is exceptional. Asterisk, so is yours. Asterisk, what happened next shocked everyone watching, though perhaps it shouldn't have. Asterisk, instead of gloating or celebrating their victory, Walsh turned to his team and then back to the Marines. You know what? We've been going about this all wrong. Asterisk Chen raised an eyebrow. How so? Asterisk, we've been treating this like we're opponents, Walsh explained. But we're not. We're allies. We face the same enemies, fight the same fights. What if instead of competing, we shared what we know? Asterisk Chen saw where this was going and felt a smile for me. A training exchange. Asterisk, exactly. Your techniques, our techniques. Your experience, our experience. Make both teams better. Okay. Asterisk, for the next 4 hours, as the desert sun tracked across the sky, something unprecedented happened. British and American snipers sat together, sharing the secrets of their craft. The Marines demonstrated their emphasis on rapid target acquisition and engagement, honed through years of close-quarters urban combat. The British showed their techniques for ultra-long-range shooting and the mathematical precision of their ballistic calculations. Asterisk, Rodriguez learned a new method for calculating wind drift. Bennett picked up tricks for reading desert mirages. Hayes and a British corporal named Matthews discovered they'd both been in Helmand province at the same time, probably within kilometers of each other, fighting the same enemy without ever meeting. Asterisk, as the afternoon wore on, the competition became collaboration. The rivalry became respect. The challenge became camaraderie. Asterisk, Lieutenant Kowalski watched this transformation with professional interest. She'd seen a lot in her 6 years in the Marine Corps, but this was something special, something that transcended the usual military relationships. Asterisk, when the sun began setting, casting long shadows across the desert, both teams gathered their equipment. The British had won the original competition. Somehow that seemed less important than what had emerged from it. Asterisk, drinks are on us, Chen announced. Fair and square. Asterisk, drinks are on both of us, Walsh countered. We'll split it. Call it an investment in Allied cooperation. Asterisk, that night, in the small bar that served the forward operating base, American and British soldiers sat together, trading stories and techniques, building the kinds of bonds that would matter when things got serious again, because everyone knew that this peaceful moment was temporary. The war continued. Threats remained, asterisk, but now both teams were better prepared, more capable, more connected, asterisk. 2 weeks later, when a joint operation required precision fire support to extract a pinned-down patrol, American and British snipers worked together seamlessly, their shared knowledge saving lives. Nobody kept score that day. Nobody needed to. Asterisk, the challenge that had started as friendly rivalry had transformed into something more valuable than victory had created unity. And in a world where warriors from different nations needed to stand together against common threats, that unity was worth more than any competition could ever be. Asterisk, in the end, everyone won. And that was what shocked them most of all, not the shooting, not the scores, but the realization that sometimes the best victory isn't over your opponent, but alongside them.